morning and welcome to another Sunday morning sketch. Starting a little late this morning, we shockingly got up early, did breakfast and grocery shopping before, this, which is weird because this is usually outside of making coffee, the first thing I do. Okay, so this morning, as I seem to have accidentally gotten onto a mad scientist kick, which is totally awesome with me. And my bad pre-planning here. I wish I would have planned better. I could have totally gotten the third mad scientist onto this kind of wonderful trifecta. My bad. But I will move over here and I'm going to do myself a Rick Sanchez this morning, which is actually really funny because these two are clearly villains. I have no idea what Rick is. I mean, I'm assuming he's the main good guy, but considering his kill count and nihilistic view of everything, I don't know. I love him to death, but I have no idea. I assume he's a good guy, but I don't really actually know that. Oh, and once again, just so you guys know that I'm not magic or something. Just grabbed my phone, pulled up a resource picture here, so I got something to go off of. I had a whole bunch of great Rick facial expressions I went through. This one, I wanted to do this one primarily, and this is sort of an odd one, but I love the, I guess scrotum lips is the best way you can put it. I'm not doing droopy lips. Well, considering the sheer number of scrotums in the show, it's kind of or the W lip or the droopy lip. I should probably use better words, but I wanted to give that a shot, considering I'm trying to kind of draw the characters but plus them up a little bit. Not to say that they actually need plussing, but to say that I wanted to see them with more kind of detail. Let's see right about here. Okay, now that I got that down, let me zoom in. There we go. Expert camera work. Look at that. Woo! And cool. And this morning I am drinking out of the wife's Pinkie Pie cup. There she is. There's Pinkie Pie. Not going to turn it over completely because I will wash this whole page in coffee, so that's why I'm not going to tip it. And that would be super dumb of me, and I wouldn't put it past me at points. So. For anyone who is just kind of joining us, when I draw characters, I try not to do two things. One, I try not to exactly replicate what is on the screen or the page, because at that point it's like, well, look, then you're just going to go to the original artist, and what's the point of ever looking at what I'm doing? Two, if you don't get the character close, then it's not the character anymore. So I'm always trying to find this nice balance of it has to read as the character. I have to get, things to feel right. But on the same note, if you're just going to replicate exactly what's on the screen, just grab a piece of tracing paper and trace. It'll go faster. And I say that not as a matter of it's cheating. It's a matter of if you're just going to duplicate, then you're duplicating, which is fine. That's not what I'm going for. That's not my goals. Like my wife does these wonderful My Little Pony illustrations for the buttons she sells, and the characters look like the characters. I mean, period. But she illustrates it how she would do it, which is still super close, but it's her version. And and that to me is really kind of the way I think it kind of should be done. There's people out there that just basically take screen caps, and whether they're just tracing off the screen cap or they're just so exactly getting it right, I kind of end up looking at it like, oh, well, I mean, you duplicated it. I mean, good job. I mean, that is actually difficult to do, but at the end of it, I end up kind of going like, show me what you would have done, you know? I mean, unless what you would have done is entirely simply put tracing it. And these giant circle eyes always give me fits. Oh, they do. If you draw like that normally, they're easy, but if you try to put them into a physical structure, I mean, I kind of did pretty decently on Doofenshmirtz, but furl his brow a little bit there. I suddenly feel like I don't want to screw this one up at all because I like the character so much. It's like with Doofenshmirtz, I like the character quite a bit, but for some reason I didn't feel too bad if I kind of screwed up. I'm not sure why. I think it's because he's a comedy character, and clearly so is Rick Sanchez. But there's like pain and suffering with Rick Sanchez. So I feel as if I don't want to screw that up. I know there's like that makes very little sense, but you know, I'm not used to doing this on such a full stomach. Like my athletic prowess. I don't know if that's the right. I feel low-key. I feel, you know, like, oh, I feel like taking a nap. No, can't take a nap. Must address Rick Sanchez. You know.
You've been doing the get up, hang around, you do your thing, you don't have lunch, and then do grocery shopping for so long. Body's probably not used to that.
Yeah, I probably just got myself into the habit. It was nice hitting the grocery shopping early this morning. It's always nice not having to deal with too many people.
Well, we used to do it like that, but just, I think with you starting to do this, we just decided to start to shift it back a little.
It's true.
I like getting it in early also because you have less people. You get fresh stuff as opposed to stuff that's been picked over.
Yeah. All those humans and they're touching my food. Alright, and here comes the part where I need to figure out what to do with the lips. I mean, I could just put the W shape in, but I feel as if I want to do more with it. Pull this out a little further.
As a joke, one of the My Little Pony things I was working on, I actually did put the goofy lips on here just to see what would happen. It looked pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, it's really a. I'm actually kind of shocked that nobody's ever really done that before. It's upon looking at it, it's so obvious. Well, yeah, but I mean, with all the simple, abstract, cartoon, like lip shapes, you figure somebody would have done something that would have done this before, but and they probably have, but just not, you know.
The funny thing, I've seen that in real life.
Yeah, so have I. Which is why I'm saying I'm shocked that it really, you know.
Yeah, my sister Lisa does a really good droopy lip thing, and it's hilarious. It's kind of like she would do something and she'd like purposely make like a really dumb look on her face and would do the droopy lip thing. It was hilarious.
Nice. If we notice other things, like with the really abstract styles, like they move the ears into a spot where they really shouldn't be. You know, and not like it doesn't work, like on Rick Sanchez, like, here, let me put this on the screen so people can see it. Like with Rick Sanchez here, like his, let me get that, the glare out of there, this ear is like way low, which totally works. I mean, it totally works, but it's totally wrong. It's not like I have to correct it, like an obsessive-compulsive disorder. But I kind of do feel the need to kind of, when I'm structuring the character out, to try to at least get it a little closer to...
That's the beauty of cartooning.
Hmm?
That's the beauty of cartooning. You pretty much do what you want.
Yeah, it's true.
Your world. And live in it.
Well, yeah, it's like last time when I mentioned like whoever did the Bishonen Draken, it was so far off from Draken, it was kind of like wow. But on the same note, you were like, dude, someone did a Bishonen Draken, which is all pretty and thin and you know, all teeny looking and stuff, and even though it wasn't like my thing, I had to applaud the well. There you go. I mean. You know, it worked very well for, you know, like what it was. And the more I'm staring at these droopy lips, the more I'm like, I don't know if I can make this structural. I don't know if I can do that. I'm trying to figure this one out. And if anyone out in TV land out there is wondering, I do virtually no pre-planning on these shows. Because I do this for fun, and I don't care for planning too much when I'm just having fun. So, like I think I decided, like, after I got the first two Mad Scientists done, that I was doing Rick. But I mean, like Doofenshmirtz, I don't even think that I knew I was doing him until that morning. Stiffen him up a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of thankful I've got the hot bean juice in the Pinkie Pie cup here. Okay, what now?
What if I don't do bean juice?
Then don't drink it. The bean juice. Well, you know, it's like when somebody said, "What if I don't do jogging?" And you're like, "Well, then don't do jogging." You know, like, about the best I can do on that one, huh?
You're supposed to feel sad and sympathetic to me.
Oh, I do. I just beyond that, I don't know what to do. Like, oh, you don't drink coffee. My bottom lip is protruding, shiny, and pathetic. Here it is.
Step it up, buttercup.
Okay, now it's done. There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, like that. It's alright. It's not like potentially millions upon tens of millions of people in the future will hear you do that.
Good.
I know, it's kind of awesome, isn't it? Yeah, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, what if, like, you know, like the oldie generation, you know, like the Victorians and stuff, you know, like they would just say, like not only use words that aren't used anymore, but say amazingly politically incorrect things, right? So, but imagine if they had the internet and they were live streaming and all that stuff was still up. Like generations later, people are going like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they talk like that." It's like they're the most barbaric group of racist, hateful people. Blah blah blah. In the future, you know, like if this is still up 100 years from now, people will be looking back, going like, "I can't believe the crude, awful, hateful ways these people are." And yet, I always end up going like, "There's just nothing you can do."
We do that right now, so of course it's going to happen.
But that's what I'm saying is then you add in like future generations having no perspective of time, going like it's like these people were horrible people. It's like yeah, but like everybody in the past, including probably many today, are very, very racist people, or very hateful, or very they don't like the other group. Pick the group. And if we get like a further liberal future, you're gonna get like people that are just like, I can't believe they, well, blank. We can't even fathom what they're going to be shocked at us not liking.
We were still fighting over that at that time period? Really?
Yeah.
Like, yep, we thought it was dumb too. And nobody wouldn't listen.
Take me a bit to get these hair spikes figured out. Yeah. His face needs to be longer. Yeah. So I was actually kind of thinking about this week. You know, I kind of take 40 minutes to an hour sometimes to do a head. And I've seen dudes, like, I remember like years back when I was a teen seeing like Fred Perry draw at convention, and he was doing entire freaking characters in ink in like a minute or two. And the man's supernatural. But I mean, beyond that, I've seen people that just do characters so quickly, and I don't feel as if I need to exactly defend myself, but I find it interesting when you look at different artists' work, like the tempo and the method, and sometimes you can, like, sometimes a dude's skill is getting a very good character done in like minutes. But then like another dude might take like kind of what I do, and I'm not saying my stuff is better, but just different and really working the lines and stuff. Like sometimes it's just that, like, that dude's hand just knows certain lines. Just boom, 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 boom. And I end up looking at stuff going like, it's not that I care about the lines, as I'm trying to, you know, like knowing the lines, like my hand just does the line, as much as I'm trying to figure out, you know, how to understand the character and how to put the lines together. And sometimes, like, I've never drawn Doofenshmirtz or Draken, or actually quite a few of these characters I've never done before. So I'm sitting there trying to kind of figure out how to, you know, how to do those characters and kind of get the most I can out of the lines. And I'm not saying that one or the other is better or worse. I just find it interesting that, and you can just see some people out there that don't do art going like, well, this guy gets one character done in 5 minutes, and this guy gets a character done in an hour, and then somehow that means
one is
something.
Better than the other.
Yeah, like one is better than the other, one has more experience than the other. Like when I was younger, I could do characters quite quickly, but I don't think I drew them as well as I do now, and I most certainly, I don't think I understood them. I mean, like, I loved them, but I don't think I really, and I tried to understand them. That was always there, but I'm kind of looking at it going like, can I understand how the lines on Popeye works?
Right.
In the same thought process as how can I understand the lines on, like, you know, Rick Sanchez's Droopy Lips.
It's like looking at a puzzle and putting it together for us, and just doing the whole thing of just disassembling and reassembling it in our own brain. And with Fred Perry, which is a good example of him, he does that because he's been doing that. That was basically his method of operating, because he was a convention guy, and so for him, getting sketches done as quick as he could do, so he could move on to the next project.
Oh yeah, because it was like production line. Like money was just, I watched him. Money was just like tick, 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 just flying in.
Well, not only that, but his comic, he's the only, like, for years he was doing, of course, all the penciling and inking, and then started doing coloring. He's been doing this comic, was it last year or the year before, has hit the 25-year anniversary mark.
It was like 500 issues or something.
Yeah, and he's still going.
I mean, by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is a freaking machine.
He is, exactly, and putting out a monthly comic by himself, still doing conventions at that. He was in the Army years ago, doing sketches while he was in the Army. I think it was like I don't know if he was he wasn't a combat medic, but I know he was something where at times he would allow him to sit down and pull out his sketchbook while he was on patrol. So he was constantly doing things in a quick manner, just to be able to, like, just to get out there and get his hand practiced and get going and all that, because you never know when he had to get up and move.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been a machine as long as he could probably, as long as I can remember him.
And the thing was is, when I saw him do it was before I even got into college. I mean, I was the teen with the sketchbook, blah blah blah. And back then, the anime conventions were very different than they are now. I kind of honestly miss it, but back when they were amazing. Yeah, back when it wasn't about the cool kids wearing cool outfits. I got
love cosplay.
oh yeah, I don't have an issue with cosplay itself. It's like I went to conventions for cartoons and drawing and comics and stuff because I wanted to get away from the cool kids. I wanted to get away from that niche bull stuff.
Yep. And now the cool kids are invading it, knocking out everybody else.
Yeah, and it's like
less cool than them.
yeah, it's you just yep. But I just saw him at when it was like a Katsucon or something, and I remember it was the same one that one evening we went and we caught like one of the only viewings of the Butt Attack Punisher Girl series. Yes, you heard that correctly, TV Land. They are funny. They're amazingly inappropriate, but they are funny. So I actually I remember quite a bit of that convention more than quite a few that I've been to, and one of the reasons was because Fred Perry was, and he was just sitting there, just like he'd be like, you want to do what? In pen, then he just hand it to the dude, and I'm just sitting there going like, holy crap, you know what I mean?
You are God.
I don't know. Yeah, basically, are you a god?
Yeah, I mean, he is. And I remember one of the years that when I went with you guys to, I want to say it was one of the Katsucons, and he was there, and I was so excited that he was there. And yeah, it was just amazing watching him work because he was.
Yeah.
It's that muscle memory. It's that the characters that he knows so well. Basically, I mean, his characters are a part of him, and he knows every single piece about them, and so he could just pop, there you go.
You know, and it's so weird that Fred Perry, that he's not like more well known.
Yeah.
He's kind of like him and Robert DeJesus are two guys that I was so certain would be so well known by now when I was much younger. And I'm they're totally relevant. They're totally amazing artists, but I always kind of figured somehow. Oh yeah, especially Robert DeJesus. He was like one of my heroes because I liked his artwork more than Fred Perry's. I respected Fred Perry's. I thought it looked good, and his machine output was just like the light of God. Like you just had to behold it to at least what I saw. I was just completely shocked at how fast he is. With DeJesus, I don't recall his speed. I remember that he had a good production speed, but his quality and his character design and his style is so good. If I had money, I would love to hire him to illustrate books for me. And I can illustrate myself, and I'm not bad. And even I'm going can I get DeJesus? You know? Because he's such a natural.
You hear that, Bob? We're talking to you. Yeah. And the thing is, I think there was just so much that they honestly did really give it a good try. I mean, they actually They actually had, from what I understand, some possible animations that they were trying, but unfortunately it didn't go through properly. Something happened that didn't go through, which was quite sad because his style, in my opinion, would translate very well into animated stuff. I think they're still trying. I mean, Bob's still doing his thing. He's gotten mentioned on several major websites, which unfortunately because of that people have been stealing his artwork now. But
well, yeah, but that's the thing though, is when people start stealing your artwork in a sort of a sick sort of way, that means you're relevant. Very few people steal artwork from people who don't have that has artwork that's not worth stealing. You know, I mean, you have to.
You'd be surprised.
Well, but you know what I'm saying is you have to be an artist of worth for people to care. And it's like, and I'm not encouraging anybody to steal my artwork. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's going to happen eventually.
Challenge accepted.
Well, no, it's going to happen no matter what I do. If I get remotely respected in any fashion, it's going to happen. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm totally looking forward to it. It's a matter of, well, it's going to happen or not, and if it happens, it's probably an indicator that I'm probably doing something right.
In that matter, that's how we protect ourselves.
Which is why our stuff is, copywritten, blah blah blah, lawyers and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? There's just people out there that don't think art is of any actual worth, even though they love it, and they think that artists just don't have to ever get paid for their work, which is so weird because they love this person's artwork, but then. And I'm not even talking like, oh my God, give the artist $1,000. It's like, no. It's like, dude, send them a little bit of money, buy a print or whatever. I just don't understand why people look at artwork and just think, oh, this is completely, this is worth a quick buck. It's not like anybody spent any real time on it. I'll just rip this person off, which is one of the reasons why I don't like wholesale just doing some basically sort of a trace job, a complete reproduction, because I'm like, well, that person worked on that. They created the lines, they did the thing. It's like you don't go into an auto mechanic and go like, man, could you work on my car? But I don't think the work is worth anything. It's like it's all work. It's all people's time and energy.
Yeah. It's that sense of entitlement that's been making its way throughout people for the past, or making itself more known, I should say, for the past probably 5 years or so. People want things right away. They don't want to work for it.
I don't know. I think they've always been here.
Well, I know. I'm saying that it's been becoming more public within the last 5 to 10 years. It's always been around, absolutely, but the fact that it's been becoming more and more of a visible, recognizable thing now, thanks to the internet. Once again, because I've ran into many people, both online and in real meat space here, who will tell me, "Oh, I like your work. Can I get something for this? Can you do something for me? Sure, it's going to be this much. Oh, I didn't think I'd have to pay for it." Yeah, it's like...
What? You're sitting in an expensive hotel paying for expensive food, and you don't think the artist isn't having to do that?
Yeah, like, oh, I really want this burger. How much is the burger? Well, can you make that burger for me? Yeah, it's going to be $7 for the burger. Oh, I didn't think I was going to have to pay for it.
I know, it's so weird.
That's what I mean by the sense of entitlement. People, when it comes to art, because they can't physically see it being made, or it's in their mind, it's some type of intangible thing, that means it's not worth their tangible money if they can't physically see it, but yet they want it.
Well, to be fair, and this is something that I think is just sort of an technological issue that's been around for a very long time. It's difficult to see worth in, for example, a file that has no weight, that's just a bunch of zeros and ones, when you can get an infinite number of other free files on the internet. I'm just saying, I'm not completely blaming the mentality. I can see why people are going like, oh, it's art, it's free off the web. It's like, well, this is in essence very true, because you're right, and there's a lot of artists that put up their art for free, and good for them, and blah blah blah. But the thing is, at some point in time, that art was probably paid for by somebody at least, or was compensated somehow.
And that's what I mean by the entitlement of people. A prime example is a friend of mine. His wife does amazing work.
Oh yeah, no, I know them. Yeah.
Yeah, and when she puts stuff up on her paywall, there's always a person or two, there's people who will pay for it and give her the money that she deserves for her work. But then there's always these Ubers who will just distribute it all over the place.
And devalue it.
Yeah, exactly, because they feel that they're sticking it to her, because how dare she charge for her services? How
dare she create something that they love? Enough to do that and ask for money. Meanwhile, she's supposed to pay for the internet connection how, she's supposed to pay for food how, she's supposed to pay for heat how, supplies, electricity. It's like, oh no, screw her. It's like she does this great thing that I love, but at the end of the day, it's sort of a big old FU to her. It's not even sort of, it is.
Yeah,
And it's like, really?
And the thing is, there's entire, like, many communities devoted to people who have that mentality.
I don't understand that.
And there's actually many artist beware sites that are out there that I check, because there are many people who will sit there and do can I get this commission or do this blah blah blah, and then get it all set and then do the, oh well, I don't have the money to pay for it, yada yada, or okay, I'll get this and then I'll pay you. How about I pay you $5 for 10 hours worth of work?
Bull.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I'm paid at least $30 an hour.
Yeah.
So if I did 10 hours worth of work, I'm expecting bare minimum $300.
And that's it exactly.
Bare minimum.
You have a bunch of people who don't seem to understand the value of, this is my job.
Yeah, I have to pay for food.
Yeah, and there's just within the past month or so, I've seen several threads that popped up on various sites that I belong to and groups that I belong with, where people will do a or a artist beware, because there's people that will come in and ask for, I need people to do a comic for me or do this for me, and people say, okay, yeah, sure, this is how much it's going to be, and they physically start insulting the people with, well, why do you charge this much? You're a blanking idiot. Why do I want to pay you for something like this? And it's like,
all right, then you don't get artwork. Good luck finding it.
And that's exactly like, why in the world do you have to throw do you think throwing a temper tantrum is going to make me want to work for you even more?
Oh, that guarantees I'm not going to do business with them.
Is that going to guilt you? And the thing is, there are actually some naive beginning artists who do fall for that. They feel so bad that they will either completely undercharge or just not charge at all.
Oh no, they can't do that.
Because they're trying to get their work out there, and they just want somebody to do something or do something for them. And so, yeah, these people will insult them to the point where they will go, okay, I'm sorry, won't charge you this much, or I'll do it for you for free. And that's what ticks me off, because it's like, no, you're worth more than that, and you're definitely worth more than some internet stranger insulting you just because they want free artwork.
Oh yeah, well, I think we were lucky that we were brought up when we were, so we sort of got eased into the internet. You know, I mean, it didn't take me long back in 1990 or whatever with AOL Online or blah blah blah, the early stuff, to figure out that it's the internet. It's foul. You know, it is. The people on there are. I'm not even entirely sure they're actually people.
A lot of them.
They're just they're awful.
Yeah, a lot of them are enduring their trolls. There's the bots that come out there, and it's just people who just want to just be nasty for the sake of being nasty. And
I don't understand
being a bunch
that.
of bullies, and the thing is, a lot of them get away with it because they're hidden behind their proxies or have their IP addresses hidden, or going through several different systems where you can't trace them. And so, yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they have to live with themselves.
And the thing is, they're fine with that. There's a lot of sociopaths out there.
And them I get. It's the people that are. I don't know.
Look at it this way. Now, we ran into one when we were shopping this morning. The lady who looked at us as we were waiting for her to move her cart, she stared at us and then kept doing what she was doing, and she just didn't care about what we needed, other than the fact of her getting her filters for her coffee or whatever. She literally stared at us, turned back to what she was doing, and left her stuff in the middle of the aisle. Those are the type of people that we're dealing with.
Yeah, I just.
I get what I want, screw the rest of you.
I know, I don't get that. I mean, I'm not like the greatest person in the world, but at the end of the day, I don't do that. It's like, it's not difficult to just treat people with a certain base level of kind of respect.
Yeah. You don't have to like everybody, but
no, you don't.
Move your car out the way. Be respectable.
I don't have to like everyone. Move your cart out of the way.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, just be respectful to your fellow man. It's like, you know what, I can wait for a few seconds or so while you do your thing, but to sit there and knowingly block an area when you see that there are people waiting to get past, I mean, and that applies to everyday life. It's like, just don't be a douche. That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah, and I just... I mean, I totally get it. I mean, there's a whole lot out there where it's like... Yeah, I just... People.
Sorry, internet was ranting.
Well, no, that's not a rant. That's a legitimate criticism, and it's one of the reasons why overall all the comments and stuff on our stuff is going to be turned off. You know, all base contact with us is kind of just not going to exist because it's like I don't have to share this stuff. You know.
I remember the pony motorcycle picture that I did.
Okay.
And when I did it, I posted online, and in the description I had something online that, well, the voice actress for the character, she was doing a ride for the cure for cancer, and asked that her character be drawn riding a bike. And when I saw the initial post for me, when she said a bike or so, I read it as a motorcycle because where I come from, motorcycles are also known as bikes.
Yeah.
And so plus anyway, I wanted to draw a motorcycle because it looked cool.
Yeah, and you picked a neat one.
Yeah. And while the few comments that were on there were appreciative and very positive, there's the one that was, well, how do you not know the difference between a bike and a motorcycle? And I was like,
None of your goddamn business.
Your language.
What?
As a language.
Oh, sorry, but no, seriously. It's like people... What I really love is people who even can't do artwork themselves doing that.
My simple reply was, well, where I'm from, bikes are known as motorcycles, and motorcycles are known as bikes.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, like there's different lexicons for different things. I was like, other than that, it's like, so, do you have a comment or not? It was like, other than trying to insult.
Other than being nasty.
Yeah, and I was like, are you just jealous because you didn't do it?
Yeah,
it was simple,
basically.
Yeah, and never replied back, and so I just blocked them because like I don't need that negativity in my life, man.
Oh yeah. See, to me, my favorite button on the internet is the block one, and basically everybody has one shot. And they give me a single reason to block. There's billions of humans out there. I will block you instantly. And it's not like I'm asking for I'm not challenging people or whatever. Challenge accepted. I'm just simply saying that it's like, oh, well, you're going to be a terrible person. Well, I'm sorry. Click. I don't have time for you because I literally don't have time in my life for all the people that I want to have time for. Why in the world would I make time in my life for people who are just being nasty and trollish? And they're never going to guilt me into listening to them because I'm like, I'm a bullied kid, people. I've been bullied and beaten and nastied by the nastiest bully nasties there's ever been. Outside of maybe the murderous ones that have been out there that have actually killed people. And it's at the end of the day, it's like, I'm sorry, I've been beaten and insulted by probably some of the best, or at least some of the most slack-jawed and ignorant. And but it's just like you just get to a point where you're like, I gave y'all knuckle draggers enough time in my life. Block. I just don't have time.
Please don't take your stinky attitudes to garbage dump that actually appreciate you.
Yeah.
There's none of that allowed here. Oh, my favorite was years ago, the puppy I did with the Jesus fish in his mouth.
The which one now?
The puppy I did with the Jesus fish.
Right.
Yeah, I did that actually, and I posted it on one of the art sites, which I hardly go to anymore because I just don't have the time. Once again, the few people that did respond thought it was positive, and there was just the one troublemaker. And when I was reading his comment, I actually read him in the, well, how can you belong to a group that likes to tell people that they're wrong about things, and that...
You mean like you just basically did?
Yeah, that likes to hurt and harm people because of beliefs, and I'm just like, I'm reading this, and it's like, remember, my friend was like, dude, You're coming onto my page trying to complaining about
Preach to me.
my belief, and it's like you are doing the exact same thing that you're claiming that I do, even though you have no idea who I am. So it's like either you need to think about your own life and stop projecting your own attitudes onto people's pages that you don't even know, or maybe you need to realize that drawing cute animals ain't that serious, bro.
Yeah.
Because
the fact,
God bless you, have a good day.
because the fact is whether you agree with a group or not everybody in any group is exactly what you think they are.
Yeah, and it's like, why in the world? I used to be, it's like, how in the world are you going to come into my house and start telling me how I'm wrong about my Christianity?
It's like, hey, none of your business, dude. I ain't walking into your house asking and talking or telling you things. I mean, unless, of course, this is considered coming into somebody's house, but I don't think this is. So you can always just turn me off.
Like, yeah, this was on my page. Like, you walk into my house with your dirty, stinky, muddy shoes, complaining about how my beliefs are harming people, and you don't even know who I am. You're like, dude, how'd you get this address? Who are you, and why shouldn't I call the police on you?
To me, it's a simple fact of you protect your own rights by protecting other people's rights. And unless you know somebody's being awful, leave them alone. You know, unless you know it. Like, there's people out there that I've known of every description where I'm like, you're just not that great of a person. You need to stop being kind of douchey or mean-spirited or snide or nasty or whatever. And I've known people of every description that has been the opposite of that. Been like the people you want as your next-door neighbors. So to assume that any member of any group is exactly what you think they are just because you're righteous on the internet, I don't know. No.
And that's the thing, with the internet, people, that's the one place people feel they can have power. Because
you don't have power on the internet.
They can say things and not get reprimanded for it, or they can say things and try and get the quote-unquote last word, and they can say the thoughts that they want without having to confront somebody face-to-face. Because we know, like, 95% of the stuff that people say on the internet, they wouldn't say to the person's face.
Oh, I've met people like that where you actually talk to them in real life and they just fall apart, and they're not like this mighty ideological lion anymore. They're just this trembling, concave chested, pathetic little sad. And I'm not insulting. I'm just going like, look, if you're going to be this person, be this person. Period. If anyone out there that's seeing like this right now, this is pretty much how I actually am. And if I address anything on the web, my name is on it, and I'm going to give the opinion that I would to somebody's face, which is why I typically try not to be mean or nasty or anything.
See, that's the thing. I don't want people who have nasty attitudes online to do that in real life, because they're going to end up in jail or dead or seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Because we've seen people's online attitudes come out in real life, and I've personally seen people do stupid stuff because they're trying to imitate their online persona.
Oh, really?
And they end up getting kicked out of places, getting their butts kicked royally.
I have one personality, and that's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
same here.
All right. That is one. He's not bad. He's kind of lacking some of the details that the others got. I guess he's just got this soft, round face. It's making it hard for me to really get... Like, these guys got clear, like, cheekbones and stuff. Rick don't. Okay. I might have to reapproach him later. I think he turned out well. He just didn't, He didn't rock me like a hurricane, I suppose.
Too soon, dude.
Too soon?
Too soon. Bad choice of words.
Well, you got to keep in mind, hon, by the time this really gets onto, like YouTube, it's going to be like a year from now.
And there's still going to be lots of people suffering from it. Too soon, bro. Too soon.
Okay. Actually, I was really more making a reference to the fact that I heard the Scorpions on Pandora this week, and they're going around and they were using the Rock Me Like a Hurricane as the background song to the ad, and I...
Still too soon.
Admittedly, I actually wasn't referencing what was going on otherwise. Strangely enough.
I'm pretty sure Pandora probably got a bunch of slack for that too.
I think if anybody has a problem with a heavy metal song from the 80s, like what was it, when the Anthrax scare came out years back and Anthrax came on and apologized for their name, I was like, really? A, nobody cares. B, nobody made that connection. And 3, no.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. All right. Well, everyone have yourself a good week. This is Eric Whalen from Super Secret Project X doing his Mr. Rogers bit.
Where's your shoes?
And signing off. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.